Hello, this is an introductory lecture on Chinua Achebe's famous novel Things Fall Apart. This novel has 3 sections. In this lecture today, I will try to present a very brief summary of the first section of the novel. The novel Things Fall Apart is set in Nigeria. Things Fall Apart নভেলখনৰ গল্পটো আফ্ৰিকাৰ নাইজেৰিয়া নামৰ দেশখনৰ এটা ঘটনা। And the story is set in 1890s আৰু গল্পটোৰ যেটো ঘটনা 1890 পৰা 1899 চনৰ সেইখিনি সময়ৰ ঘটনা দেখুৱা হৈছে নভেলখনত চিনুৱা আচেবে প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিছে। Although the novel is set in 1890s, actually the novel was published in the year 1958, and in this context we have to remember that Nigeria acquired independence from British rule in the year 1960. That means Chinua Achebe published this novel 2 years prior to Nigeria's independence. We also have to remember, before we start describing the story of the novel, that the title Things Fall Apart is taken by Chinua Achebe from W.B. Yeats's famous poem The Second Coming. There is a special reason for which Chinua Achebe has taken this title from this particular poem by W.B. Yeats. With this background, let's start discussing the story of the novel. Things Fall Apart mainly presents the story of a person called Okonko, O-K-O-N-K-W-O, Okonko. When the story begins, Okonko has already become 38 years of age, and he has become quite a prosperous and famous person in the 9 villages of Umuofia, U-M-U-O-F-I-A. Umuofia is a cluster of a group of 9 villages where people belonging to the same clan live. Clan, C-L-A-N. The word clan refers to a group of people having relations. So, among these 9 villages of Umuofia, people belonging to same clan live, and these 9 villages of Umuofia have grown out of 9 sons from the first father of the clan. That means Umuofia, the history of Umuofia says that there was only one person, and this person had 9 sons, and these 9 sons have established 9 villages, and together they are known now as Umuofia clan. As I have already said, when the story begins, Okonko has become a prosperous and successful and famous person of the clan of 38 years of age. But Okonko's hard work has made it possible for him to become such a great figure in his community. At the age of 18, he rose to fame. 18 বছৰ বয়সত অকংক বিখ্যাত হ'ল because he defeated Amalinze, Amalinze, a great wrestler who was very famous for his wrestling power and wrestling techniques from Umuofia to Mbaino. There is the mention of another village, another clan called Mbaino, Mbaino. For almost 7 years, Amalinze, the wrestler, was not defeated, but finally Okonko could defeat him in a very famous wrestling match. And the day Okonko defeated Amalinze to become the wrestling champion, his fame spread like a wild bushfire and he became very famous. But still, Okonko had to work very hard to be successful and prosperous in life, because his father Unoka, Unoka, was a totally different kind of a person. Unoka was a very lazy person. His interests were different. He liked to play flute, he liked to sing, he liked to gossip, tell stories, and he would like to drink palm wine. And as he would never work in his land to grow crops for his family, he would be always in debt. He would always borrow cowries, cowries, the local currency, cowrie, cowries, plural. So he would always borrow cowries from his neighbors, and he would be often visited by those people who would lend him cowries, but he would never pay them back because he had nothing to give them, as he would never work hard in his land. And because of this nature of Unoka, the people of Umuofia would often call him an Agbala, Agabala. The word Agbala refers to an unsuccessful person, a person with feminine nature, a person of the quality of ladies according to those people of Umuofia. We have to remember also that Umuofia also worshipped an oracle of the hills and caves. Umuofia devota ejon asile, whom they would pray, whom the people of Umuofia would often visit seeking advice, asking for solutions to their problems. And that force is known as the oracles of the hills and caves. And this oracle is also known as Agbala, Agbala. So on the one hand, the word Agbala refers to the oracle of the hills and caves, and on the other hand, the same word refers to a person of very weak nature, a person with feminine qualities. And because of Unoka's nature, people always would refer to him as an Agbala, because he was never a very brave person. He was always afraid of seeing blood. So he would not ever dare to participate in any kind of a fight or war. That is how Unoka passed his life. And when Unoka died 10 years back, he left the family with a lot of debt. 10 বছৰ মান আগতে যেতিয়া উনকাৰ মৃত্যু হয়, গোটেই পৰিয়ালটোক বহু ধাৰত থৈ পেলাই উনকাৰ মৃত্যু হয়. And Unoka would often complain, Unokai মাঝে মাঝে অভিযোগও কৰিছিলে, that he had a very bad chi, bad মানে বেয়া, chi, chi, chi in the community of Umuofia, Umuofiaর যে সমাজ ব্যৱস্থা, তাতে the word chi, chi means personal God. That means those people believed that each of the individual has his or her personal God, chi, chi. And Unoka would often complain that he had a very bad chi. Once he visited the oracle of the hills and caves, he য'ত মানুহে উপদেশ বিচাৰি যায় পাহাৰৰ সেই দৰ্শন কৰা ঠাইত, তাতে এবাৰ উনকা গৈছিলে. And he presented his problem to the priests there. তাতে যে পুৰোহিত আছে, সেই পুৰোহিতক তেখেতৰ সমস্যাটো কৈছিলে. And the priests on behalf of Agbala replied, because the force, the oracle itself would not pronounce any judgment or would not give any solution, but on behalf of the oracle, the priests would produce the judgment or communicate the decision. So when Unoka presented his problem to the oracle, the priests there told Unoka that your problem is that you do not work hard, you do not work properly in your land. Go to your land, work properly, then you would be able to be successful. But Unoka did not follow that advice. And when Unoka died, he died in the disease of swelling of the body. দেহা ফুলি যোৱা বেমাৰত উনকাৰ মৃত্যু হৈছিল. And in the society, in the social system of Umuofia, this disease, the disease of swelling of the body, was considered to be an abomination, a very bad thing. এই বেমাৰটোক তেওঁলোকে খুব বেয়া বেমাৰ বুলি ভাবিছিলে. And whenever somebody would have this disease, that person would not be allowed to live within the family. পৰিয়ালৰ মাজত সেই মানুহজনক আৰু থাকিবলৈ দিয়া নহয়. And the same thing happened to Unoka. When he was struck by this disease, এই বেমাৰটোৱে যেতিয়া উনকাক আক্ৰমণ কৰিলে, he was taken out from the family house, from his house, and was taken directly to the evil forest. EVIL, evil forest মানে এটা জংগল, য'ত whatever the people would not like to be within the village, within the family, they would just dump, they would just throw that thing in that forest. And the same thing happened to Unoka's fate. Unokar কপালতো একেটা ঘটনাই ঘটিলে. He was dumped there inside the evil forest. Evil forestৰ ভিতৰত তেখেতক থৈ দিয়া হ'ল. And there Unoka died. And therefore, Unoka also did not have a proper burial. ভালকে কবৰো তেখেতক দিয়া নহ'ল. There was nothing, no ritual followed after his death, because nobody would visit the person who would be thrown, who would be kept inside the evil forest. And that is how Unoka died. And this fate of Unoka was what Okonko was always afraid of. Okonkoi জীৱনত সকলো সময়ত এই কথাটোকে ভয় খাইছিল. The only possession, the only worry in Okonko's life was that he always avoided to appear like his father. He never wanted to be like his father, and he never wanted that the people around him should fight any of his father's qualities in him. তেখেতৰ মাজত তেখেতৰ দেউতাকৰ কোনো গুণ যাতে মানুহে বিচাৰি নাপায়, সেই কথাটোতেই অকংকই সকলো সময়ত ব্যস্ত হৈ আছিল. Therefore, he would always maintain a very masculine, strong and brave personality. He would never display any emotion, because he always considered that showing emotion, showing affection, morom dekhua, bhalpoa dekhuatu is a kind of feminine thing, not a manly kind of behavior, according to Okonko. When the story begins, Okonko has already attained great fame in Umuofia as a great warrior and as a great leader. He has already married thrice. His first wife, whose proper name is not given, but in the story, the first wife is described as Noye's mother. Noye, Nwoye, Noye's mother, the first wife. The second wife is Ekwefi, Ekwefi. And the third wife is Ojiugo, Ojiugo. And within the compound of Okonko's household, each of the wives is allowed to live in separate huts. Separate hut. The word for hut, H-U-T, hut, in this novel is used as OBI. So each of the wives has her own OB. Ekwefi, the second wife, has a daughter, Ezinma, Ezinma. As the story informs us, Ezinma was the daughter of Ekwefi, the second wife of Okonko. And this second wife, Ekwefi, this is not her first marriage. Ekwefi was earlier married to someone else, but Ekwefi fell in love with Okonko when Okonko defeated Amelinze in that great wrestling match. She could have at that moment come to Okonko to be his wife, but during those days, at that moment, Okonko's financial condition was not very good, because as I have already said, that the family was left in all kinds of debts by the father. Therefore, at that moment, Ekwefi did not leave her first husband. She waited, and when Okonko's fortunes turned for the better, Okonkor arthik obostha jetia bhal hol, Ekwefi left her husband and she came to Okonko to be his second wife. As we have already known that the family of Okonko, their financial condition was not very good. At a very early age, Okonkwo realized that he had to fight very hard to survive in this, for survival, and he worked very hard in the field. First, he borrowed yam seeds, yam, Y-A-M, the main crop in Umuofia, yam, Y-A-M, which requires very hard work to grow. Okonkwo visited a very rich farmer, Nwakibie, 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 and Okonkwo borrowed seeds of yam to plant in the field. And Nwakibie knew that Okonkwo was a very hard working person. So, he very readily gave some seeds to Okonkwo, yam seeds to Okonkwo. During the first round of plantation of the seed yams, there was not sufficient rain, and the seeds were almost destroyed because there were no rains. Still, Okonkwo met Nwakibie again and borrowed some more seed yams. He worked hard this time also, and this time there was rain in the right time and he had a very good crops. And after the harvest, Okonkwo gave Nwakibie his share of the harvest, because that was the deal, that Okonkwo would give Nwakibie his share of the harvest, because the yam seeds were given by Nwakibie. This is how Okonkwo fought to be very successful. As the story begins, we are also informed that Umuofia has a very rich culture, a vibrant justice system, a very popular currency pattern, which I have already said, the currency is Kauri, and that is how the society was functioning. In the novel, there are many instances mentioned to show how the social, economic and justice system of Umuofia was functioning properly. And as I come back for my next video, we will start discussing those issues. Thank you.